So you've been dealing with cubital tunnel syndrome and you have numbness, tingling, shooting, stabbing, burning into these fingers. Maybe a little bit into the wrist and into this part of the forearm, and then definitely into this elbow. And you put something, when you rest it on something or you bend it too much, it increases your symptoms. And you failed care, surgery, maybe your last resort. Is surgery necessary? We're going to answer that question in this video today. Hey everyone, I'm Sebastian at Performance Place Sports Care, part of the locally world famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa, California. Now, I wanted to put this video out today for you guys because we do see a lot of people with ulnar nerve complaints and the elbow complaint here. Mainly because we have a few videos on YouTube that are really popular and we have an ebook that people buy. And so they have a lot of questions, concerns, and we're able to work with them. Many times they do get better, but the question always remains of, do you think I need to have surgery for this? And I tell many people no. The reason is because a lot of times they haven't thought outside the box of the other options that they can try. So in this video today, first we're going to discuss a few of the symptoms that you may need to know about and how to think about them to figure out if, number one, is the elbow the right location for your surgery period? I'm not saying you don't need a surgery, but is it at the right location or even involving the correct nerve? So that's number one. Number two is, did you actually try the easy things that already work now, but increase the dosage? Number three is, did you try other areas of treatment first? Okay. The first thing is, when we talk about these symptoms, you got to know that it only involves two fingers, actually 1.5 fingers right here. I've showed this Netter's book on many of our other videos because this is the bread and butter of the anatomical books. I don't think they updated it for many years because it's been so good. And notice that the ulnar nerve only affects the blue/purple regions because I'm colorblind, and it does not affect the other fingers at all. I've met so many people that believe they have cubital tunnel syndrome because their inner elbow is sensitive, but they have symptoms into the other fingers that are not blue/purple in this picture. Think about what this means. Well, you don't have to look too far in Netter's before it tells you that the blue here, this one is an example of the median nerve. This is a completely different nerve that doesn't actually go through the cubital tunnel at all. In fact, it's on the opposite side of the elbow. It goes into this part of the elbow here. Actually, not on the opposite side, but a different region. It's into this part of the elbow here, while the cubital tunnel is back into here. The reason why this is significant is because if the surgery is performed at the cubital tunnel and you're trying to solve the problem of these fingers, then there's a chance that there may be more than meets the eye. Now, I never tell anybody that the surgery is not absolutely necessary because sometimes it is. We've met many people who actually need this surgery, but there's also a lot of people who have been reading on Dr. Google and the internet and so on, and they've self-diagnosed them with cubital tunnel syndrome who still have symptoms in these fingers. And in every single video that we have, we mention this. We're hoping that some of you will catch this, because what this means is it's not only here. It's not only the carpal tunnel either, because that's the median nerve as well. But where do those ones start? Well, they go up past the elbow and they're still not connected. And then they finally make their way up into this region here, which they're actually connected there. So at that region or even higher is typically where the problem's going to be, especially if it's bilateral or the other side, okay? We don't want people having surgeries on locations that aren't going to solve their problems, but when you need it done, you need it done. Now, there's also the thought that potentially there's two entrapments. Well, what if I have an entrapment at the cubital tunnel and then I also have one at the pronator or the carpal tunnel as well, and that explains these other fingers? Maybe, yeah. But I always say it like this, like if you're going to flip a coin, like the odds of hitting heads is higher, because it's 50%, than hitting heads twice in a row. It's not 50% anymore, heads, it's actually 25, so the probability goes down. And if you pair that with having some type of neck pain or mid-back stiffness or mid-back ache, then it heightens the percentage too. Many people that we see with problems into here and these fingers, oftentimes it's a problem at the neck. Someone recently we saw, he was a younger person. He was around the age of, I think he was younger than 30. He had symptoms into these two fingers, and he was told he would probably need a series of injections and a surgery if it doesn't really work into this region here. He climbs for a living, and he responded super well to a cervical-based approach. Within a week's period of time, symptoms were out of his hand, and we had to deal with a little bit more up into here. However, it can be that quick if you get the right area. You take pressure off the nerve in it, says thank you, and it feels better. Now, the second thing I wanted to cover is maybe do a little bit more of the things that make you feel good. And this is going to feel really, really silly to say, but I really do mean it. If it hurts to bend your elbow, do less of it. What this does is it creates tension of the ulnar nerve around the elbow at the cubital tunnel. And so if there's really sensitivity of the ulnar nerve at the cubital tunnel, the best thing to do is just let it not be tense. Slacken it. Give it a break. Now, you can keep your elbow in extended position for a little bit of time, but eventually you're going to bend it right. But maybe what a better answer is don't fully bend it. One way you can do this is you can put tape, even some crummy tape like a white tape or the stretchy athletic tapes, like the brand name fancy ones now that people wear on, playing volleyball and so on. You can put it around here. And it doesn't have to be super specific. All it is we call it a flexion check. It makes it so your brain's like, you were telling me not to bend my elbow fully. Or you can do a little bit more elaborate one, so when you're sleeping, you never fully bend your elbow into this position. It's just a little bit more extended, and so it gives the nerve a break. This can be the most powerful thing you can possibly do. Don't pick your scab, give the nerve a chance, and you may be surprised of how quickly your symptoms actually go away. However, they may return if you don't fully resolve the problem, which requires you to restore sliding mechanics, where the nerve slides through the area, because in this case it's a tension dysfunction, doesn't tolerate tension around the bend. Improving slide through will make it so you can do things like throw footballs again, and baseballs, and so on, because these are tension movements, right? So sliding and then building strength or building armory around the limb is part of the second part. Now, the third thing that many of you really don't get a chance to do, and it's unfortunate, is what I mentioned earlier, is that treating that young man from the neck was really, really helpful. And it took the symptoms out of the hands and in the elbow. And by the way, I should note, we didn't adjust him, okay, because I know we're chiropractors. We didn't adjust his neck. We gave him a series of exercises to do at home. Now, that timeline of about a week of someone around the age of 30 years old or so is pretty fair. To be able to reduce their symptoms over the course of a week's period of time is pretty fair, and it's pretty common if you pick the right thing. Now, the reason why I wanted to put this in a whole category on its own is because many of you are going to potentially do the surgery without doing easy things, simple things that you could do on your own if you know how to do them. The cervical-based approach one, we have many videos on a few cervical options that we have, but honestly, you should just have us look at it for you so we can suggest the right one. One will make you feel worse or better. Sometimes things make you feel worse if you pick the wrong one. All right, with the gentleman I mentioned before, we assessed him first and then we picked the right one for him. Also, many of you have not done a shoulder approach either. Putting some load and effort and support through your shoulder again. Many people are lacking on the back side of the shoulder here. It's like a little bit of a gully in there. And so there are specific exercises you can do to challenge the back of the shoulder, but also get the shoulder in the mix again so it takes effort away from the cubital tunnel region or the elbow itself, sparing the nerve again. So I know these were very simple things to cover, but I really do mean it. Figure out what your symptom patterns are and talk to your doctor about it, or if you want to set up an assessment with us, you certainly can. Our link is in the description below. The second thing is find the things that feel good and do a lot more of it. it sometimes is worth its weight in gold. The third thing is make sure that you've gone through and actually treated surrounding regions before you actually go through and do the surgery. So many times we find that taking these 3 simple approaches that we can screen out the people who actually need the surgery or may need the surgery, and then we battery test them and challenge them with those other protocols that I mentioned. And so if they fail that, then maybe you might need the surgery. But many of them, I'd say easily 9 out of 10 of them get better when you take this approach. Do the simple things that make you feel better, and then try the other joints, all right? Now, if you guys like the video, please take advantage of the ulnar nerve ebook that I wrote. It covers a lot of the theory as well as some of the exercises that I did mention, all right? It's in the link description below. I update it pretty often, so that's why it's a digital copy. So if I find something new, then it's offered in the book. If you guys like the channel, please subscribe, like this video if you will. We have many videos on the ulnar nerve on our channel, and we continue to do them on YouTube all the time. We'll see you next time.